Hi, my name is Kanthi from the Temple Bar, and I am today going to show you some really interesting Indian street food dishes using your spices to minimal and keeping your supplies and ingredients in the kitchen to minimal as well, and try to use most of them in different recipes and get different flavors and different textures and colors out of them. Okay, so today we're going to go through the ingredients, especially the spices that we're going to be using today to make our street food dishes. So we got 5 spices in general that we're using today, whole spices, all of them to make it. I mean, we use 20-25 spices in Indian cooking, but we don't have to go through all of that. You know, it's a very tedious process going and finding them, shopping for them and all that. So what we want to do is just keep it to bare minimum, and then it's very easy to remember, as I always call it 5 C's of spices, which would be all 5 spices that's starting with alphabet C. So it's so much easier for you to remember when you go shopping. So what we have is cinnamon here to begin with, some coriander seeds, cumin seeds, cardamom, and cloves. So all 5 C's that we have, which I'm going to show you how to toast them and then powder them, that we're going to be using in different recipes that we're making today. Apart from that, I have some whole fennel here, fennel seeds, which we're going to use them separately as whole, so we keep them on the side. And then I got some chili powder here, most common ingredient in Indian cooking. Turmeric powder, very common ingredient again. And here I got something called chaat masala. This has about 15 ingredients in itself. So I mean, nobody makes it at home. None of the chefs I know make it at home. I don't make it at home. It's easily available in the supermarkets, Indian supermarkets, especially if you go to places that sell most Indian ingredients or specialize in Asian ingredients. Okay, so toasting the spices, most easiest thing. So don't go and buy spice powders which don't even last long. They lose the power as you keep storing them. Get all fresh spices and then just toast them for a couple of minutes, grind them into a fine paste, and then whenever you need to use them, you toast them again. Use them from fresh, which would be really it adds on a lot of flavor to your cooking. Okay, so a nice hot pan, a couple of pinches of this cumin seeds, couple of pinches of coriander seeds, 2 or 3 garlic, 2 or 3 cloves, and a couple of those cinnamon sticks. So what we want to do here is just to make them hot, no oil, just dry toasting to get the flavors out of them, to get those aromas going, and then just grind them into a nice fine powder. Okay, so all it takes is a minute. There's strong spices in these are cardamom, cloves, and cinnamon, so keep them to minimal and use more of coriander and cumin, which are milder than the other flavors. Just after a minute you can start smelling those spices, and they are pretty much ready to go once you can smell them. Right, so the spices are toasted now, so all you want to do is just get them into this pestle and mortar and then give them a good bash, and they take literally about a minute to get them into a fine powder. If you don't have pestle and mortar at home, no problem, use your coffee grinder if you have one. If not, you can use your little mini food processor if you have one as well. So just about a quick bashing for a minute. So just after a minute or so of bashing, here we got this really fine brown spice mix that we're going to be using today in all the different recipes. Okay, so the next thing what we'll be doing is to make our sauces ready, and then there's 2 sauces that we're going to be making today. One is a really nice, refreshing, fresh mint and coriander herb chutney, and then the second one is a really sweet, sour, tangy date and tamarind sauce. Okay, so for that we need some tamarind. Now tamarind is a fruit which is a bit sour and sweet in taste, and it's processed and it's available in a bulk form like that in any Asian supermarkets. And all you have to do is just soak it in some hot water. And then just work with your hands and squeeze all that pulp out of it. Okay, so a really good, nice couple of minutes of getting the extract out of tamarind paste. So you see that the pits are separated now from the pulp, and all the pulp is mixed into the water, and all we want to do is now strain them. And then we get it on the stove, and whilst we keep cooking that, we keep boiling that on the stove, all we need to do now is just quickly bash up some cumin seeds and add to that. So you got some cumin, again toasted. I've already toasted them. Like I said, it's always nice to toast them before you bash them, so you get more flavor out of it. And what we want to do is not a complete powder this time. We want a coarsely ground cumin seed. So that's that. That's a coarsely crushed cumin seed, and we're gonna get that into our tamarind pulp, which is on the stove at the moment. And what we're going to do is then add this date syrup to it and boil it for a good 15 minutes. Right, so we have our tamarind extract, and then it's on the stove now, and we're going to simmer it for a good 15 minutes, and we're going to add this crushed toasted cumin powder to it, and then we're also going to add some date syrup to it. It immediately gives it a nice sweetness and also changes the color into really nice dark chocolatey kind of a color that you get on your tamarind sauce. Okay, so this is pretty much it. So what we want to do now is cook it slowly, simmer it for 15 minutes, and then you'll see it kind of forms completely into, it gets thick because of the date syrup, and it becomes a nice thick sauce that you can use it as a dip, or you can use it to coat few ingredients, or you can use it as something to bind. So you can use it in many ways. Okay, so after 15 minutes of simmering, your tamarind chutney becomes really thick, and it gets a really nice shine on it, as you can see. And all we need to do now is add that chaat masala that I said you could buy it ready-made in Indian supermarkets. Just add a couple of pinches to that, mix it all up, and your tamarind chutney is ready to go. This will keep for about 3 to 4 weeks in your fridge, so you can make it way in advance and just forget about it until you need to use it again. So the next chutney that we'll be doing is a really refreshing mint and coriander herb chutney. Again, the ingredients, we're going to go through 1 bunch of mint and 1 bunch of coriander, and we got some lime juice here and a couple of green chilies, and depends on how hot you want them, how hot you want your sauce to be. So you can add more or add only 1 chili if you want it to be milder, or take the seeds off if you want it to be milder, or put the seeds in if you want it to be spicy. You can choose however you want to do it. And a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. This is all the ingredients that we need to make this really nice, beautiful green herb chutney. Okay, so what we want to do is just get them all into the blender and then blitz it all up. So we're going to get all the ingredients that I've just shown you for the herb chutney into this blender here. Chili, I like it really nice and spicy, so I'm going to go for 2 chilies with seeds in it. But as I said, it's up to you how much of heat you want in your chutney. Get that in here. About 3 dashes of lime juice, and blitz it all up. Yeah. So just have a look, and you see if it still needs to be a bit more liquidy, so just add a couple more dashes of your lime juice there and blitz it all up again. Before you do your last blitz, you can add a teaspoon of sugar in there and a good pinch of salt, and give it a good blitz. Okay, the chutney is ready. So all you want to do is just get it out in this bowl, and freeze it, not freeze it, but put it in a refrigerator, because if you leave it outside, the chutney is going to lose its really nice green color that it has at the moment. Okay, so now we got our spice mixes, and the chutney is ready. So now all we're gonna do is use them all in 4 different recipes and try to come up with something really easy, something really quick, and something which has got so much flavor in it. So the first thing, which is my absolute favorite, is to do a summer fruit chaat. So it's a really simple dish which is served in summer on street sides of India, because the temperature is so hot that you really need some cold fruit to cool your body down, and melons are available all across summer in India. So we're going to use some really good, I'm going to use some honeydew, I'm going to use some dahlia, and use some watermelons in there. Okay, and because we got really nice strawberries this season, the British strawberries are really good at this point of time of the year. So I'm going to use some British strawberries, and we got some really nice mangoes coming in from India as well. If you go to, I mean, they're available, and mangoes are available now in any supermarket, but if you really want some Indian mangoes, then there's Asian supermarkets that are selling them at the moment. So all these fruits already chopped up, there's no rule to it, just cut them into standard dices and all of them into the bowl there. And then what we want to do is take the chaat masala that I was talking about, like a couple of pinches like that, and half of your tablespoon of tamarind sauce that we made earlier, and the same amount of the green herb chutney that we made earlier, and all you want to do is just mix it all up. And get a really nice glass bowl or glass like that, cocktail glass. This could be a starter, a nice big bowl of your fruit salad, or it could even be a dessert if you fancy a bit of spice in your fruit. And what I'm going to do now is get some pomegranate seeds and then just sprinkle them all over so it looks much more colorful. So I got some pomegranate seeds, as I said, to just add a little bit of more color, more texture, and more flavor to your fruit chaat. Beautiful. And then I got some mint leaves here. So what you want to do is either you just finely chiffonade it, or just cut it into tiny little strips like that, or you could just tear them with your fingers like that, and then add, if you like, if you don't mind, a bit of chunky mint leaf in your dish. So give it a nice sprinkle all over, because mint actually kind of adds up that final fresh taste in your mouth when you try this whole dish together. So that's pretty much it. That's our fruit chaat ready.